one guest, I think, was more impressive still. It's a chap called Billy Baxter. So we had all sorts of funny people on the show, Boris Johnson being one of them. His best lap time around our track was a 2 minutes and 4 second lap. And Billy Baxter had written in and said, I'd like to try and beat your slowest time, which didn't sound very impressive, except that Billy was completely blind. So this turned into a different type of challenge, a typical Top Gear special. We had Billy he came down to the track, met him, was a wonderful chap. He'd lost his eyesight in the war in Yugoslavia. And so prior to that, he could see, and he was a very capable driver and a record setter. So that was a good start. But really everything I knew about teaching people was completely useless. You couldn't say things like, watch out for the tree, try not to hit the tire wall, stuff he couldn't see. So visual references were completely useless for describing the track to him. So what we did was we created a new system. I used the clock face to indicate 12 for straight and 3 and 9 for left and right. Lots of swearing and encouragement to increase brake pressure and acceleration. And we basically, rather than try and teach him the entire lap, which was impossible, the concentration required to drive while not being able to see was too much for that. We broke it into sections. We did it corner by corner, straight by straight. So we never did a lap. So in a whole day, he chain smoked through the day, sweating bullets, never did one lap, but we had assessed all the different corners for my producer to give me the $1 million question, which is, can he do a lap? To which I said yes. So I gave Billy a voice recording of the lap, basically, and I spoke all the words we were used to hearing to a lap time that I thought was achievable. So I timed it as I was saying it to him, imagining the lap. So using a visualization technique to imagine and make a mental map of the track. Billy spent 2 weeks memorizing this, reappeared and said, I'm ready to do it. And lo and behold, on his first lap, we actually achieved an entire lap, which for me was, I could have retired on that there and then. It was a miracle, really. But there was one corner where I would hold the steering wheel for him. It was too fast and dangerous to let him hold the steering, called the follow through, named because apparently the original designer of the track said, if you get it wrong here, you'd shit yourself and follow through, which is not something I always tell the businesses that I'm speaking to. But since we're among friends. So Billy had a bit of help in that corner. But for the second run, he was making an approach that to me looked pretty amazing. And I felt the moment was too special to spoil it by helping him. So I lied to him and said I had the steering wheel. He rattled through this corner, made it through the last sequence, spun as we were coming across the line where Tom Cruise had done a wheelie. But I managed to get the stopwatch down and let him know that he had driven completely unaided for an entire lap of the track. And he'd done it in a 1 minute and 58 seconds, which beat 6 sighted celebrities, which for me was an incredible achievement for him, and reduced the big man to tears, which was it was just a special moment to be a part of, and probably the proudest moment of my time at the show. So that was me as an instructor, and had a ton of fun trying to train a lot of people. Some people are untrainable. Cue Jeremy Clarkson is a great example of people who cannot be taught, but are a lot of fun to be around. So I've got various stories about those guys, which we have more time, I'd dive into.